And we get a little pushback. Oh, you can do this on your own. I tell everyone who interviews with us, you can absolutely figure out how to stripe. To me, it's not just about striping. It's really about marketing, branding, customer relationships, all that stuff. And the folks who've never run a business before, when I give them our onboard checklist, like the steps you need to take to get your business launched, it's a really long list.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Talking Lots here on the TPG Podcast Network. Some things have changed. We're in studio here. This is the first Talking Lots that we're doing in the studio, and man, this place is gorgeous, Brian. The team did a heck of a job. I think you had a little something to do with this as well, I'm guessing by the books.
Yeah. I picked those on purpose. I figured, the viewers would be checking out what we're reading here at TPG, and so
Yeah, man.
I want to make sure it's the good stuff.
Well, thank you for joining me today. And must be something special going on. Got Brian here. We're in the new studio, and an incredible guest. I believe this is his first in-person podcast he's ever done. He's a legend in the industry, but shies away from the camera. Lets his crew really take most of the credit. But we are thrilled to have Jack Child from G-Force here with us. How are you, Jack?
I'm well, thanks.
Good.
With a face for radio, you're lucky to have me on the first podcast.
Jack is an absolute legend, man, and an amazing person, amazing partner of ours at the Payment Group, your entire team, man.
Thank you.
We're grateful for all the guys that you have, all those vets out there making it happen for us, and just grateful to have you here, man, and looking forward to this conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's get right into it. So I know a lot of your backstory, and I think it's fascinating. I love what you've set up and the mission that you're on, you and your team are on. But will you share with us, kind of your background a little bit and how why line striping and why the other things that veteran service brands are doing?
Thanks. And I do try to make this about my franchise partners, not about me. I try my very best to stay in the background, frankly. But I was a Delta pilot, so naturally Delta pilots are very inclined to go out and stripe parking lots. Right?
Yes, sure. Makes perfect sense.
I'm pretty sure I'm the only Delta pilot that's ever striped a parking lot. Short story long, I'd been in the space years ago. Delta had gone through a difficult time after 9/11, declared bankruptcy, lots of pay cuts, position shifting. I was looking around like maybe I need to do plan B here, and I needed my driveway sealed, and my experience was less than positive. And I said, well, there's got to be a better way. And
Sure.
so
And you're up in New Hampshire.
I'm in New Hampshire.
Not like kind of remote. You're a little outside of a large city or whatever.
Right. It's
So
kind of a
options were
bedroom
limited for a
community,
contractor.
and driveway sealing is kind of a big thing up there. Our town has 3-acre lot minimum typically, so you got fairly long driveways.
Okay.
Some of the nearby towns have a lot of little McMansions, so pretty good demand up there. So we launched. I launched a driveway sealing business. It was going really well, and I belonged to this business group, and I'm sitting next to a young lady who was a franchise consultant. She goes, well, you need to franchise that. And I said, well, I've only been doing this a year. And she said, well, tell me what's going on. I said, well, we're capturing a lot of market, and, we were putting our crews in uniform. We were, back then, this is early 2000s, not a lot of competitors who even had a web presence. Mm-hmm. We used, my dog was our logo, and it really connected with the residential homeowners. And a lot of them were kind of, frankly, the wives. We wanted to give them that trust that, someone coming to do your driveway is going to look neat and clean. The trucks were clean. We used box trucks to hide the seal coat tank, because seal coat tank, they get ugly.
Yeah,
We
sure.
put all the ugly inside. And the company took off.
Great idea.
Yeah.
So, well, franchise it after first. Well, sure. So that winter, I went about trying to figure out how to franchise. And admittedly, when I look back, I was like, that was nuts to do. Really ill prepared for it. But I like to take chances, and so we franchised it. It's hard to get someone to get into the seal coating business. as a franchise. You know, it's really kind of tough.
How did you do that? How did you find your franchisees?
We were trying different ways to advertise. It was a challenge. We didn't have a big budget, so that made it even worse. And I think in recent years, people have kind of figured out that the service space is the place to be.
Yeah, sure.
So it's gotten easier in recent years. I think we've got some competitors in our space now that are doing very well.
I think a lot of people are looking to, get out of jobs and get into,
Right.
Get into something that they can build of their own. Those
Right.
people I find that are top performers usually in companies want a little bit of freedom, and a franchise step is really a better step for a lot of people than just starting something from scratch and trying to figure it out. And so
Yeah. And we get a little pushback. Oh, you can do this on your own. I tell everyone who interviews with us, you can actually figure out how to stripe. To me, it's not just about striping. It's really about marketing, branding, customer relationships, all that stuff. And the folks who've never run a business before, when I give them our onboard checklist, like the steps you need to take to get your business launched, it's a really long list.
Okay.
And for those who've never done that, they skip a lot of those steps. And so they're always kind of starting off, I think, a little bit behind the eight ball. But anyway, so getting back to our story, we sold a few seal coating franchises, and of course, we needed striping, so I started striping. I learned to stripe. I had 1 hour of instruction, and so we realized that maybe we could branch off and create a striping franchise. So I was the first one to kind of come up with the concept that striping ought to be franchised, and I clearly believe that. There was no national brand, no national print, lots of fragmented markets all over the place. So we launched a sister company for striping. Unfortunately, I had a partner issue that we brought on that created some problems. Eventually, I decided it was probably best to step aside. I sold the business to a competitor. Had a 5-year no-compete, and I actually never thought I would come back in the business. Kind of a negative, encounter there, but it kept gnawing at me that there really needs to be a national brand. And I'm a veteran myself, and I never used the veteran. We weren't listed as a veteran company in my old business. I get more thank yous now because of the post 9/11 vets. And at the time that back in 2010, for example, when I launched my first striping brand, the veteran unemployment rate was over 20%. These guys coming out of Iraq and Afghanistan were faced with really high unemployment. We actually ran a contest. We gave away a free franchise fee, trailer, equipment. Sherwin-Williams donated paint. Graco donated a machine. We gave it to a Purple Heart vet down in Virginia, and that was really satisfying. So looking back, and it's like, I know this is a great business for a veteran probably who wants to be outdoors. He doesn't want to be, boxed in an office. This is a really neat space to be. There's good money to be made, but nobody knows about it. And I had tried to recruit vets in my last business, and it was a struggle. So how could I attract more vets? And I figured the best way is to maybe just make it exclusive to them. So we became the first brand to franchise exclusively to military veterans. You have to be an honorably discharged veteran or an active guard or reserve person. Interestingly enough, I knew how to do the franchise documents. I worked with a franchise attorney, of course. I launched my first ad on Facebook for $20. I got my first response.
What year was this?
This was 2018.
2018, okay.
I think I launched my first ad in February or March.
in the world of marketing, Jack, that's a hell of a conversion rate.
It's
$20 for a lead.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
It's not. It was my first lead, and he became my first franchisee. And I thought, man, this can be easy. Well, second one was a little harder to get to,
Yeah.
So
Is that Tampa?
that's Tampa.
Okay, so
That's
that was your
Vish.
very first. Okay.
Yeah. And so it's always better to be lucky than good, right? Vish has been our go-to guy. He really is, like, you couldn't ask for a better first franchise owner. He became our instructor. He just took to the business, and he's been doing remarkable work. Anyway, so we sold, I think, 2 in 2018. Maybe number 3 came in around New Year's of that year. We sold another 5 or so the next year, and then it's been about 10 per year since then. So we have 41 different veterans with 44 locations. Some have owned, they one way or another came up with another franchise location. So we're at 44 now. We'll be at 45 soon. We're opening up a location in California in the next 60 to 90 days. We expect maybe 1 or more for the rest of the year. We'd hope to get to 50, but lead flow is a little down for franchise prospects. With low unemployment rate, it's typically not a great time to sell franchises. So we're happy there's a low unemployment rate. We'll take a little less growth at our end, knowing people are out there employed. But so we'll get to 50, I think, by next year sometime for sure.
That's amazing, man. And I said it in the opening, but having the opportunity to come, what city were we in when we went to the?
That was Nashville.
It was in Nashville. Went to the steakhouse, had dinner with Jack and his whole crew of franchisees, and man, you just there's a feeling you get when you walk into rooms that are special, and that is one that you can feel it, man. You feel the commitment, you feel you feel proud to be an American when you're around these guys, and for me, I just got chills, man. It's one of the things that I take pride in the most, like doing this, building this, the idea of Studio One here that we're sitting in is, connected to the First Amendment and everything that's American. It's like so much of what goes on in our country is controversial, and man, when you're in a room with guys like that and you don't feel any of those problems, and that's a good thing. And on the business front, these guys are going to take care of business. They're professional. They're always respectful. They're going to treat your customers the way that you would treat them. It's an awesome model, man. I commend you. I was going to ask the question of whether the idea of having it unique to veterans was a first, and it was, right?
First brand to be exclusive to veterans.
Yeah.
There was a junk removal franchise that was for veterans and veteran family members, and we appreciate that. But we kind of took it to the next level.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And and like I said, I've never worn my veteran status on my sleeve, though literally am right now. But it's on behalf of the folks that we've recruited. And I like mentoring. I love the excitement of taking someone from 0 to 100 miles per hour as fast as you can. I love that early stage.
Get that from being a pilot?
Kind of. Yeah.
0 to 500 miles an hour.
Yeah, I've done 500 a couple times. So, I do try to make it all about them. If you go to our website, you really won't find a whole lot about me on there. It's kind of, I'm in the background. I really want to be in the background. So this podcast, I'm comfortable with. It's because it's not about me.
We're comfortable with you being uncomfortable.
Well, you guys are pros. So.
No, absolutely. This is going to be in the Smithsonian. It'll be a one and done, the only one on record with Jack. So you were doing driveway seal coating residentially, and then you're obviously with the line strap, and you're moving into commercial.
Right.
And getting to know you, I feel like you figured a lot of stuff out yourself, right? Like you're not classically trained in marketing, but somehow you figured out how to brand and then how to market commercial versus residential. Yeah. Was that a lot of trial and error, or is that did you read a lot of books? Like, how'd you get so good at it?
I read some books. I just I kind of have a picky eye. Like I'm fussy, and some of that comes from the military. First I was in the Army. I enlisted in the Army after high school. Most people know I was a pilot with the Air Force, but the Army was really what kind of saved me. I was lost. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a Chicago cop, actually. That's what I was going to do. I joined the Army to get that experience. I was a military policeman. I learned very quickly I was really good at that, but I really didn't like it. I loved it at one level, but the part I didn't like was the negativity. I was becoming very cynical. So then I said, well, I like the legal part of this, the words. I went to Catholic school, pretty strict regimen of, reading, writing, arithmetic. That's actually carried me a long way. And so then I was going to go to law school, right? And then Chicago had this huge storm, and it was miserable. And my friend was flying twin engines for Photomat. Do you guys ever remember Photomat?
Of course, little
Sure do.
kiosks.
It's
that
a
were in there.
long story about how that film worked. It's you pick it up in a station wagon, you drop it at an airport, an airplane picks it up and flies it to think about this, a processing center. They develop a film, bring it back, so it does this circuit, and
Really?
that was his job. I'm riding along, and
A little easier these days.
yeah,
huh?
a little bit. And I'm reading Fly
cool.
magazine about this college in Florida where you can go to learn to fly and go hang out at the beach. I said, you know what? And my dad was a pilot, a private pilot. So I said, I'm going to just go do that. Right?
Yeah.
So that's how I started flying. And then I joined ROTC, and I wound up getting commissioned in the Air Force. I flew cargo C-141s. I was an instructor pilot. I taught aerial refueling. So oddly enough, all of that works really well, I think, for my role as a franchisor. As I was not only an instructor, but I taught the new instructors how to be instructors. So I've always been able to put myself in the shoes of someone who's on day one. I still remember that, and I can relate to that, because some instructors struggle. It becomes very easy to go hook up to a tanker. And how come you don't know how to do that? I just showed you how to do that. You have to be able to put yourself in their shoes and understand their frame of mind and what their challenges are to break through on that learning curve.
Sure.
So we do that, I think, for mentoring folks with business. Most of our folks have never owned a business. And as you know, starting and running a business is a real challenge.
There's a whole
So-
lot to it, man. People
So
don't
we're-
know, that's for sure.
We try really hard to mentor. And oddly enough, I think, like I said, that's where my instructor pilot background came into play. I was an instructor at Delta as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So are you mentoring, like, is there something that you start with? Is it the field operations? Sarah, we got to get this down, or do you have to hit them with everything at
Well, it
once
is a
with
fire
sales
hose.
and marketing?
Yeah,
and-
it's a complete fire hose. So we send them through hands-on training down in Tampa with Vish. He's our instructor. So they'll spend about 5 days there. We have a pretty elaborate online training program.
Yeah.
And so we send them through that, and then ideally, they'll get back to their location and forget most of what they've learned, right?
Of course. Well,
And then, typically it's that low-hanging fruit. You're winning those small $800 jobs. It's the dentist's office. You're going to make some mistakes. It's okay. You can touch it up. And now that's where the real learning begins. It's like when you don't have the instructor over your shoulder, you're out here on your own, and suddenly you don't know the answer. How do I solve this? We have that online training can be accessed live anytime, or they pick up the phone and they call Vish or the folks that work on my team or any of the other franchise partners. One thing we have, I think, that kind of sets us apart a little bit from most franchise systems, all of our guys are, I think, equally committed to everyone's success because of that instant camaraderie that
Yeah.
they
Yeah,
have.
you definitely feel that in the room, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And the same when we're dealing with stuff, and it might be in a different area than the person that we're talking to. We think it's in one area, it's actually in somebody else's area. You can definitely feel that camaraderie, brotherhood, sisterhood type of thing.
Yeah, that's been our secret sauce, to be honest.
So if a veteran is out there, man, listening to this, watching this online, and they, maybe they're working a job right now that they don't really love, how do they get in contact with you to?
They go to veteranservicebrands.com. So G-Force is about 2/3 sold out. And that's one of the
So
reasons
you better hurry up if you're out there and looking.
We've got openings in California, Washington State, Oregon, New York, Connecticut. Those are our big markets that we need to fill. But we created another brand to kind of pattern off of G-Force that we call that Mach 1 epoxy. You're sensing the aviation background there a little bit. So Mach 1 epoxy is our second brand. And then we didn't plan this, but we launched like 3 brands in 1 year. Vish's brother-in-law was running a very successful painting company in Tampa, and he had like 10, 11 crews, and he expressed an interest in franchising his concept. Unfortunately, his name was not trademarkable, so we came up with the name Paint Corps, like Marine Corps, not Paint Corps. So it's Paint Corps, and he rebranded, and so that became a third brand within the Veteran Service Brands umbrella. And then we were getting a lot of calls for athletic fields, and the
This
machines.
is my favorite name, by the way.
Field Ops? Yeah, it is a cool name.
It's great. I'm surprised it was still out there. It's such
Yeah,
a
I
great
know.
name.
Well, the domain was gone, but the name Field Ops is not taken
Okay.
for what we do. So we trademarked all of that.
Yeah.
So Field Ops grew out of demand that we didn't really realize that there was so much demand for athletic field markings. They call parking lot stripers because you kind of can do it, but it's really different. Very similar. The machineries should be lighter weight.
Yeah.
Our Graco 3900s can do it, but it's not great.
Dumb question about that. But if you're doing grass versus AstroTurf, are you using a different machine?
Yes. Different machine?
Yeah.
No, you can use the same machine. There's a different paint
Okay.
that you use. And we we're using autonomous robots in 3 of our 4 locations.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So Field Ops is a super low-cost franchise. The franchise fee is only 10 grand. The old school equipment is very cheap, so you can do it with a pickup. You wrap the pickup. We'll train you on the old school way, but we really want to nudge you towards going towards autonomous robots.
That's super cool.
So we have the 4 brands. Yeah.
We got something that we're working on here that has some autonomous robots too that I'll tell you off the air. You guys got to wait. But I'll tell you when we're
All
done
right.
here that's pretty cool. It involves that dude that's sitting out there. But
Okay.
yeah, it's just amazing, man, to watch the growth that you guys have had. And, it really does feel like you're just getting started, right? How many years in now? 5 or
We sold our
6?
first one 5 years ago
Yeah.
to Vish.
We're on the same path, man.
Yeah.
We started in 2018 too.
Yeah, it's crazy. To be honest, I didn't, you have this goal, but I always set lofty goals, right? And unit sales are higher than I kind of imagined they could be. There's actually way more demand for putting paint on the ground than I had experience in the business, but I hadn't experienced on a national level. And that's been the difference is with as many locations we have, we're able to attract great customers like the Pavement Group, who, we can take a lot off your plate. We can't take them all off your plate, but we can take a lot off your plate.
We're trying. We're trying.
Absolutely. Well, you've built something really special, Jack.
Oh,
So
thanks.
congratulations. And
Well,
again, I know you're just getting started, but
It's really due to the folks we have on board. It's really.
Yeah.
If
I know
they
you're
had
I know you're
behaved-
humble, but you're also right.
Well-
I mean, you're a pretty talented guy, but you have some really great people
Well,
working
thanks.
for you.
Yeah, not for nothing, man. Congratulations to all the guys out there, franchise owners of G-Force, because that is really who makes it what it is. You're the guy, leading the charge at the top, but without those guys out in the field making it happen every day and representing, what it means to represent that company and logo, it's the same here, right? Without our team, without the people that show up here every day and put in the work, man, the Pavement Group isn't what it is, and that's true leadership, man, to be able to deflect that down to your people, and it's true. The companies are built. The vision might come from the top, but the work is done from the bottom up, and that is 100%. True here, and it's certainly true in your organization, and the
Thanks.
people out there doing the work are exceptional.
Thank you.
Yeah, and if any of them want to come through here to Studio One,
Yeah.
your Pittsburgh guys. Or
Steve
anybody wants to
Hall,
come
we're
up,
calling you out, bro. Come on up here. Get
Steve's
up
got a
here to
great
Steelers
story.
country. I think he's coming up here for a Ravens-Steelers game here in a few weeks.
Oh, really?
So we'll have to get him in here.
He's probably going to be in a
great.
bad mood. So
Yeah,
maybe
I
we
would,
don't
I would
get-
assume. Maybe we'll get him in here before the game, so he's not in
Before the
such a-
game, yeah.
It's such a sour mood.
Steve's such a great guy. He took the leadership award, I think, last year. He's always one of our top performers. He added Mach 1 to his portfolio, so we're just getting Mach 1 up and running with Steven. But, you talk about, I think my only real talent is finding others with talent. That's truly my talent.
That's real talent.
That's
man.
real talent.
It's one of the things that I pride myself on the most is finding the right people, found this guy, found that guy over there, found all these people around here, and man, it makes it fun, doesn't it?
It does,
It makes it
yeah.
fun when you have the right people, the right vision. It's like lightning in a bottle, man. It never feels like work.
I was joking. I was golfing with Sherwin-Williams at an event. I was a guest, and a lot happened while I was gone. Really positive things. I think I need to golf more.
I saw your LinkedIn post. I saw Todd's support of your LinkedIn post
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
If I
Yeah,
step out of the way, it'll be a lot better.
I said, I've been telling Brian that forever. I should be on the golf course more. We'll be selling a lot more.
We're working
so.
on it, man. We're working on it.
Absolutely. Awesome. So this wasn't too painful, right?
It wasn't too bad.
You have a great story, and you tell it really well. You represent the brand really well, so we're grateful that you
thanks.
came on.
No,
Grateful that you came to visit us here.
Yeah, I came here just to say thanks.
Yeah.
I
And
did.
thank you, man. Thank you for your service. Thank you for everything you guys do for us. And thanks to everybody out there with the G-Force brand and all the other veteran service brands that do what you guys do. And thank you guys for your service as well. It's, this country is something special, and it wouldn't be a fraction of what it is without the military. And, man, just so grateful for those guys. We just, our team hiked the Grand Canyon this weekend, 25.5 miles, and did that, to honor the veterans and first responders, but also to raise money for a nonprofit, and anytime that we can help out veterans. So if you're out there and you're a veteran, man, and you don't want to be a franchisee, by all means, hit up the Pavement Group, because we'd love to work with any veterans out there that we can.
Yeah.
VeteranServiceBrands.com is where they should go if they want to learn a little bit more
Right.
about
Yeah.
becoming a franchisee.
Yeah, that's a good start.
Awesome. All right, Jack. Well, this was fun. Really appreciate it,
you.
Brian. Thanks for jumping on here and the
Dude,
Talking
my
Lots.
pleasure. It's good to
Yeah.
be here.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here, man.
Yeah, you betcha. Thank you, everybody, for watching. We'll see you next time on Talking Lots.